Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. We're probably catching up after a gap break of about a couple of weeks in Vrindavan. Last Sunday also we didn't touch upon the core Bhagavad Gita subject matter. So this week we are going to do a recap of how far we have progressed in the study of Bhagavad Gita, a systematic study of Bhagavad Gita, and how we will take it forward from there. The topic that we'll discuss today is how to be cool in chaos, how to be calm in chaos. And Bhagavad Gita help us become that cool person, that calm person, who in the midst of chaos does not lose his cool, does not lose his mind, does not lose the balance of his minds, still able to discriminate, still able to decide what is right, what is wrong, still does not get overwhelmed by the situation, always remain in control of his mind, senses, words, emotions, and bodily actions. Now, such calm person, such cool person in today's terminology is what Krishna is recommending Arjuna to become. So, Arjuna is not in this category, is below this category right now. And he's saying, you become one, you become that cool person, that calm person who will remain in that state despite of all the chaos that can happen all around him. So we will, we'll after recap, we will take a look at few verses from Bhagavad Gita second chapter, where this will be highlighted. But as we said, let's go through. Let's do a quick recap of how far we have come in the study of Bhagavad Gita. So that's why I said if anyone has not attended so far, if you're joining today's session, please welcome. Don't You'll not get lost. You'll not feel that what's happening. Why am I why am I here? And you'll hopefully you will be able to pick up the link. And those who are attending regularly, hopefully for you it will be a good revision. With this will this is the reminder for us. We want to hope that our lives will transform, our value systems will transform, and we are hoping for this transformation, just like a sick person when we goes to a doctor and seek medicine, seek treatment. He want to be better, he wants to transform, he is hoping for a transformation. He does not want to remain as he was, miserable. He wants to improve, he wants to become energetic, he wants to become purposeful, he wants to become uh, charged, he wants to become action oriented. And all of that, we all hope to become taking guidance from Bhagavad Gita. So before Bhagavad Gita, after Bhagavad Gita, end of this discussion, we should be like Arjuna. We should be like Arjuna, fully surrendered to Krishna, ready to fight, ready to do whatever the situation demands. So this is devotional transformation. This is done by love, not by threat, not by punishments, but by the whole song is a loving expression by Lord to Arjuna and through Arjuna to all of us, that why surrender to Krishna. And because Krishna loves us so much, because Krishna is our eternal friend, he is our father, he is our mother, he is our maintainer, he is creator of this universe, he is the maintainer of this universe. And he is the one who has given us our present body, he is the one who has given us all the facility that we are enjoying. So we he want in return is love. And if we can express that, showcase that with sincere attitude, he's most happy. So that's where that's our goal that we wish to achieve at the end of the systematic study of Bhagavad Gita. We are in battlefield. Always we are in battlefield. Every day, every minute, every hour, we are fighting battle. We are dealing with issues. So our battles are different than the ones that was faced by Arjuna but nevertheless, they are battle. They need our attention. They need us to be very alert. They need us to act swiftly. They need us to decide, take decisions, take sometimes bold decisions, take sometimes risks, and that's how we are functioning in this world. And not always, we get what we want. Battles are like that. Not always you can win. So similarly, in life, we don't get always what we want. In fact, most often we don't get what we want, and that's how life is. That's how we have to push ourselves forward, hoping that we will get what we want at some later stage. And the study of Bhagavad Gita help us, make sense of life situations, um, why it is happening, what is happening. But why, if it remains unexplained, all of us individually can build our own theories about that why, but none of those will be accurate. None of those will be fully satisfied. But if we take shelter of Bhagavad Gita, if we study that why from Bhagavad Gita, all our questions will be answered. And then we can practice, live peacefully, practice bhakti peacefully and wholeheartedly. So this is where we are, and this is where we will remain for the rest of our lives. So we better learn to adapt to this war-like situation of life. That's the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and we all possess our own respective battlefields for everyday battling. The setting the scene, we have discussed, the Prabhupada gives in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita book the brief story of Mahabharata in brief, up to the point of the beginning of this war, when Krishna goes to Hastinapur as a peace messenger, as a Shanti Doot, and his discussions also failed to yield any result, give any result, positive result. Duryodhan said very arrogantly that सुई की नोक जित के बराबर भी land I will not give to Pandavas. All Krishna wanted Dhritarashtra to intervene and give 5 villages to Pandavas, and a war can be avoided. Dhritarashtra refused to interfere, and Duryodhan refused to give anything to Pandavas, despite of they having completed all the terms and conditions of the gambling match, which they lost. So, despite of all that, with a lot of arrogance, Duryodhana simply refuses, and Dhritarashtra refused to intervene, and he failed in his duty as a father. He failed in his duty as king to protect his kingdom from getting into unnecessary war. And that's why Dhritarashtra became sole reason for this war to happen. Because he failed to do his duty. He failed in his duty as king. He failed in his duty as father. Therefore, doing your duty, knowing what is your duty in every situation is the most crucial thing that Bhagavad Gita teaches us. And doing that duty to the best of our ability is all the action that we need to do at a material level. So this is how Bhagavad Gita begins. It begins with an inquiry. Both the warriors are facing each other. Both the armies are facing each other, and Dhritarashtra is sitting in the palace in Hastinapur along with Sanjaya, who is able to envision the battlefield because of the mercy that he received from Vyasdev. And he's watching battlefield and explaining it to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. The first verse was spoken by Dhritarashtra, that Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Kurvata Sanjaya. My sons and Pandu's sons, they have assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is Dharmakshetra Kurukshetra. What did they do? And that's how the description of Bhagavad Gita begins. Duryodhan speaks at length, encouraging all the warriors to protect Bhishma and Drona, so that if, as he knew, as long as Bhishma is alive, he has no threat, and nobody can kill Bhishma that easily. It is impossible for anybody to defeat Bhishma even at this age. He was very, very old. But despite of all of that, he knew his heroics. He knew his shaurya, his stage, His prowess was unmatched. And nobody, even Arjuna, can't defeat Bhishma Dev. And hence, that's the primary reason why Duryodhana was very, very confident of winning this war. And he said, once and for all, if I kill all the Pandavas and all their supporters, it will be great for me. I'll rule the planet for rest of my life without any other threat. So Bhishma and Drona, he was banking on them heavily for winning this war. Arjuna requested Krishna. After the conch shells were blown, Arjuna requested Krishna to take his chariot in between two armies so that he can see who all have assembled here with a desire to fight. And seeing them, seeing all his friends in both sides, on the both sides of the army, seeing all his relatives, his brothers, his fathers, his father in-laws, and so many types of. He knew so many people and so many other small time soldiers. The innocent soldiers were also present at the battlefield. Looking at them, a devotee is always compassionate. A devotee of Krishna is always compassionate, and he, per se, for his own gain, does not want anything, does not want to harm anyone. So compassion aroused in the heart of Arjuna. And in that mood, he started thinking, what am I doing? Why am I here? Why should I fight this battle? Is winning really that important at the cost of killing all these people? Is that small piece of land become more valuable than the lives of my great grandfather and Bhishma and my guru Drona? He started, all these questions started coming into his mind, his heart, and that filled his heart with sorrow. He felt he's going to do something terrible. And is this really worth it? Is winning really worth it? I know Dharma is on our side. We are on the side of right. And Duryodhan has done everything wrong possible for killing us unnecessarily. He's picked up this rivalry unnecessarily. He could have given that up long ago, and none of this situation itself could not have arisen. But despite of that, he's still wondering: is winning important? Is should I really try to win? Winning at the cost of all these people, when my hands will be tainted with the blood of my relatives and my friends and my gurujans. Is that victory worth? Is that victory really worthwhile? And in this mood, he starts speaking to in the first chapter. He starts giving multiple reasons to Krishna why fighting this war is not appropriate. And now he's expecting Krishna to say something. He's expecting his friend to that confirm his decision, and he doesn't know if it is in accordance with dharma, but he know Krishna can guide him. Krishna can correct him if need be, and just like he had that confidence in Krishna that if he is right, Krishna will confirm it. If he is wrong, Krishna will correct him. And that deep faith that he had in Krishna, with that he opens up to Krishna um, and ultimately surrenders to Krishna. The confusion in his heart he expresses loudly and explains it, that why he is confused. Now, with this confusion comes the indecision, and that indecision makes him inactive. He says, "No yotse iti govindam." Govinda, मैं युद्ध नहीं करना चाहता. I will not fight. And in this condition, he starts crying. He starts crying on the battlefield. The famous Gandiva bow, which he used to hold in his hand with pride, he kept it aside, unable to stand on his own feet, unable to. Arjuna, such a champion warrior of his time, the most ferocious warrior of that time, the most undefeated warrior, the one who has defeated Lord Shiva in the battle of trial of arm. Now that Arjuna was struggling to stand on his own feet. He's struggling to keep his tears in check. So started crying. Tears started rolling from his eyes like flow of river, and his body started shaking. In that condition, he sat down in the chariot with his head down in sorrow. And in that mood, he completely surrenders to Krishna and asks for guidance. Krishna, all this while, was silently watching. Prahasa Niva Bharata. There's a beautiful description that comes that he's smiling, he's as if he's smiling. So there's Krishna is never get to stress. So Krishna is actually seeing Arjuna reduced in this condition. Krishna actually comes, this brief smile, small smile comes on his face that Arjuna is now going to surrender. Arjuna is now going to ask questions which using which I will speak Bhagavad Gita. I will give him the knowledge, and the reason. That's the reason why he put Arjuna into doubt in the first place. So, seeing that moment approaching, Krishna smiles and he begin his instructions. Begin his instructions by giving Atma Gyan. Krishna is saying, "Oh Arjuna, you are worried about killing all these people. But do you know who they really are? Are these bodies that you are seeing present on the battlefield? Do you think they are the real? Is this the real person that you are referring to?" And then he gives Atmagyan. Atmagyan or Atmagyan explains to Arjuna in detail that the real identity of a person is spiritual spark inside the body, which is occupying the body. Just like we see a car moving, but it's the driver who is moving the car. If the driver comes out of that car, the car will not move. Similarly, as long as soul is present inside the body, soul has a desire to act, and accordingly, soul acts, and then we see a body moving. The moment soul leaves the body, exits the body will become a car without driver. It cannot move. So so this knowledge is important to understand that who we really are, uh, who these people are. ये जो योद्धा रणभूमि खड़े हैं, भीष्माचार्य, द्रोणाचार्य, दुर्योधन, दुशासन, their bodies are present, and these bodies are occupied by their respective souls, and the soul is making their body move. The war is being fought. The desire to fight war is that of the soul, and he's using this body to fight a war. So what who this spirit soul is, what is his nature, what is his really identity, how do we understand him? So then Krishna explains the real identity of living entity is that of spiritual in nature. They are spirit soul, they are Atma. And as a soul, they are always eternal. They are full of knowledge, eternal, and bliss. They always seek bliss, they always seek knowledge, and they are eternal. That eternal means they have never taken birth. Sun and sun ray, they coexist, which means the moment sun arises, sun rays are available, sun rays are present. It is not said that when sun comes, he gives birth to a sun ray which enters our home, because they are always together. Similarly, Lord and all the spirit soul, all the living entities are always together. So that's why a Lord is Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano. Similarly, soul is also Ajo. Ajo is something is unborn. So soul is also unborn, and the Lord is also unborn. Soul is also full of knowledge. Lord is also full of knowledge. Our knowledge, soul's knowledge is covered. Lord's knowledge is manifested. That's the only difference. Soul is always searching for bliss. Lord is always blissful. Lord is full of bliss always. Because that's the so this is the difference between soul and the supreme soul. But the soul, being part and parcel of Krishna, has many qualities of Krishna. He can have many qualities of Krishna, just like Krishna. The Krishna has full freedom, complete independence. Jiva, a soul, has a tiny independence. Using his tiny independence, small independence, he can either act according to the instructions of Krishna or act against the instructions of Krishna. So that soul is is uh, is that soul cannot be killed. There is no death, there is no birth, there is no death. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Even if sharira is destroyed, that soul cannot be destroyed. And what does that soul do? The soul is present in the current body. The soul will give up this body when it becomes useless, old and useless, and enters into another body and continue with its activities. So, so the knowledge that aham brahmasmi is not just enough, because it also Krishna immediately explains that the soul is not just limited to one body. Soul changes body even during one lifetime, and at the end of that lifetime of that body, soul gives up this useless body and occupies another body. Soul is given another body. Soul is forced to accept another body, and that event we refer to it as death. And when soul accepts another body and that body is born, we call it birth. In between death and birth, there is old age, disease, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. Between old birth and death, there is old age. Our body, from the moment it is born, it starts growing older. It's the deterioration starts, and it becomes eventually, it get diseased and gets destroyed. So this is how the this is the so Krishna highlights the difference in the spiritual and the material. The material, the body, is made up of the five elements of nature: earth, water, air, fire, and ether. Now, this is temporary. It will always change form. You build a building, after few years, building has to be demolished, and that same material gets converted into something else. Similarly, the body, no matter how good looking, how strong, and how powerful this might be, at some stage, it will get destroyed and it will change its form. However, and the soul is got nothing to do with this body. Soul is in this body for a temporary period, and soul will take another body. Jatasya hi dhruva mrityu dhruvam janma mrutasya cha. Soul is going to take another body. And that process of transmigration is very clearly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Most scriptures of the world beat around the bush. They don't give this information. That's why Bhagavad Gita has the most advanced knowledge, most advanced spiritual knowledge in the world, in more than any other book possesses. Even in Indian Vedic literature also, whatever is there, everything is presented in a very beautiful, concise way in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is referred to it as the Gitopanishadam, is a nectar of all the Vedic wisdom, is Bhagavad Gita. And just one studies Bhagavad Gita, understands Bhagavad Gita, and follow Bhagavad Gita in their life, it is as good as taking care of all the, complying with all the rules and regulations and all the Vedic literatures that are available and printed in the universe. So one book is sufficient. Bhagavad Gita is sufficient for humanity to go back to Krishna and end the cycle of repeated birth and death. Yeah. So Krishna explains that natvevaham jasu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha na chaivam na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataparam. That the same soul is occupying the present in the body of all the kings, and so that soul cannot be killed and body cannot be saved. So do not lament for the temporary. Do not lament for the temporary. Worry about the what is eternal. Soul is eternal. So you should worry about what is eternal. And knowledge about the soul, aham brahmasmi, is good, but not good enough. Not good enough. Why? Because during lifespan, whatever one may possess, few years, few months, 100 years, 90 years, 60 years, 50 years, 40, 30, 20 years, whatever the lifespan that is given to a soul in a particular body, soul is forced to act while he's inside the body, act to maintain and protect one's own body, and then at later stage act to protect, act to perform duties according to the body that one is given, according to the ashram that one is put into. So there are prescribed duties for the body, and there are various desires that the soul is cultivating for multiple millions of lifetimes, and using and because of this both these things, one is forced to act in the world. One cannot just renounce action knowing that I am eternal soul. Um, is 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 one cannot renounce action. One is forced to act for the maintenance of his own body. One is forced to act according to the dharma, according to the dharma associated with the body in which one is occupying, and one is forced to act according to fulfill one's own desires that are cherished by the soul for millions of lifetimes. So one has to act. Then question comes how to act, because a soul has got nothing to do with this world. This is material world, but soul has somehow come to the world, and during the lifespan soul is forced to live according to the rules of the world. So soul is wondering how should I act. Now Krishna is worried. Arjuna was worried that there could be sinful reactions by killing his own relatives, but and there will be no enjoyment if I lose all my devotees. And Krishna is addressing some of those questions when he says that in 2.33 he says that if you fail to do your prescribed duty as a kshatriya, you will certainly incur sin. Then, Tova prapsasi swargam jitvava bhokshase mahim. He says, you're worried about enjoyment, O Arjuna, but think about it. You are a kshatriya, and even if you die, even if you get killed in the battle while fighting a battle for the dharma, fight dharma kshetre, you're fighting a battle for dharma on behalf of dharma. When you're fighting a battle, even if you get killed in that battle, you will attain swarga. Even if you win, and if you win you will enjoy the kingdom, unrivaled kingdom. It will be just like an Indra's kingdom, uh, unrivaled, and that kingdom you will enjoy if you win, and you will attain swarga and enjoy if you lose, if you get killed in the battle, and hence either case you will enjoy. So the situation that Arjuna is thinking as a lose-lose situation, Krishna has just turned it on its head and now presented it to Arjuna as a win-win situation. It's not a lose-lose, in fact, it's a win-win situation. But that's not the ultimate instruction of Bhagavad Gita. If someone stops reading Bhagavad Gita at 2.37, they will live their rest of their life with a wrong understanding. Therefore, we should hear Bhagavad Gita from devotees. We should read complete Bhagavad Gita. We should understand the scripture, accept and understand the scriptures in its totality, in its entirety. 2.38, Krishna takes a U turn. He says, okay, you can fight a war for either winning and enjoying the planet, the earthly, earthly, kingdom, or even if you lose, you get killed and you go to Swarga and enjoy heavenly pleasures. But life is not all about this. Life is not all about sense enjoyment. कि कहाँ मैं जाके ईटिंग मीटिंग स्लीपिंग और डिफेंडिंग करूंगा अच्छे से। स्वर्ग में अच्छी फैसिलिटी है, मीटिंग फैसिलिटीज आर बेटर, अप्सरास है, ये है, वुमन, सो हेवनली वुमेन्स आर मोर ब्यूटीफुल। heaven in heaven you have long life also, so what you can enjoy on earthly planet for few years, you can enjoy in the heavenly planet for many more years. And everything is of that of a superior quality. It's less like visiting a 7-star hotel, 10-star hotel, 100-star hotel, where as the star increases, the facilities available made available in that particular place also increases. Of course, the cost also increases, and the moment your money is over, your punya is over, you are thrown out of that hotel. Not even one moment they will tolerate you there. So that's the nature of the heavenly enjoyment. That's the nature in general of the enjoyment. So life is not all about that. Krishna is going to speak about it later in this same chapter of Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, which is Prabhupada titled it as Contents of Bhagavad Gita Summarized. Contents of Bhagavad Gita Summarized, because it presents the whole nectar of Bhagavad Gita in a very concise way. So this is where um, Arjuna is now Krishna is going to take a twist. He's going to take the discussion was happening at this level. The Krishna is going to raise the bar and take it to the higher level. He says, "Sukha dukhe same krutva labha labho jaya jaya tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi." You're worried about pap, but if you work with detachment, if you fight this war with detachment, naivam papam avapsasi, you will never incur sin. And then, so Krishna is going to present to Arjuna another reason why he should fight the war. So 2.37 also he said, fight the war, but for sense enjoyment. Either way, you will enjoy at a sensual level. You will eat better quality food. You will mate with, more. You can have better mating options in the heavenly planet. If you win the battle, then the whole planet will be. You can enjoy the whole planet, and if you go to heaven, you will enjoy heavenly pleasures. Uh, but Krishna says this is fine, but there's something better than this also available. Why don't you give it a consideration of that? What is that? Working without detachment. Working without working with detachment. Working with detachment is the option that Krishna is now going to present to Arjuna, so that you fight the same war, but don't incur any karmic bondage. Fight the war in such a way with detachment, and thereby do not incur sin, do not incur any karmic reactions for that action. So and that then so Krishna Prabhupada translates that this is working with detachment or working in devotional service. Working in devotional service. So perform actions in devotional service. Perform it as a service to Krishna, whatever you are doing, offer it to Krishna. And that way you will remain free from bondage. The karma phala will not be there. And because phala is not there, bondage is not there. You will become free from bondage, free from all the karma phala, and thereby eventually you can become free from the cycle of repeated birth also. Now, Krishna is glorifying this path of working with detachment, and he says there are many characteristics of working in this manner. That one, there is no sin. The benefit that you get are permanent in nature. That um, in the 40th verse, Neha Bhikramana Shosti, Pratya Vayo na Vidyate Swa Alpamiti Asya Dharmasya Trayate Mahatu Bhayan. Neha Bhikra Nashosti. There is no Nash. Vinash nahi hota hai. Whatever you perform, no matter how small devotional activities that you perform, um, uska loss nahi hota hai. When you act in this way, there is no loss. Whereas on the material world, whatever we do is lost during the lifetime. At the end of life, everything is lost anyway. We are not able to carry forward anything from our previous birth except for our mind and intelligence. So, whatever the material achievements that we get are lost. So, why to invest our lifetime in something that is anyway going to get lost? Why not focus our attention, our effort, our energies on something that will go with us to the next lifetime also? So, this is how Krishna is explaining and encouraging Arjuna to work with detachment. 2.47, the famous verse, Krishna says that while working, you should remember that you are not the only doer. You are not the only doer. Whatever you are doing is not directly causing the results to come. You cannot expect results for your action because results are dependent on my sanction also. So you get what I sanction. Doing your part is necessary but not sufficient for you to get desired results. My sanction is mandatory, and therefore you should be aware of that fact while acting. So whenever whatever you achieve, know that it has come with my sanction. And whenever you don't achieve anything, you suffer some losses, you um, go through some miserable conditions. Also know that there is your own actions are also contributing to it, and my sanction is also there. Either way, your role is limited. You are not the only doer. Then subsequently, Krishna says, so, how should then one act? One should act in devotional service, keeping Krishna at the center, offering all our actions to Krishna. One can get rid of good and bad karma phala pending to be delivered to us. This is Krishna. This is again a very confidential information Krishna shares right up front in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And thus you become eligible to go back to Godhead and get out of the cycle of repeated birth. 2.51 Krishna introduces that Janma Bandha Vinurmukta. Janma Bandha Vinurmukta. Again, the concept is introduced for the first time in Bhagavad Gita that there is repeated cycle of birth and death. It's true, but this cycle can be broken. This cycle can be broken if you are able to act in devotional service throughout your life. Don't and offer all the offer the fruits of all your actions to me. Then you will one two things will happen. One, you will not incur fresh fruit, karma phala, and because you have acted in devotion, you have performed sadhana, you are able to destroy all the historical the fruits of all your previous actions, and thereby you're just clearing your account, bringing it to zero. And when your karma phala becomes zero, when your history gets deleted completely, destroyed completely, there is no more reason for you to take another body, because what will you do there? So because of your devotion, because of your love for Krishna, you're eligible to go back to Krishna. The karma phala starts with all desire. Desire give rise to thoughts. Thoughts lead to action. Every action is like a seed sown in the land, which eventually bear a fruit, a karma phala. And we must accept and enjoy body to enjoy or suffer that karma phala, that karma bandha. This is called karma bandha or bondage. And due to the bondage, one get perpetually caught up in the cycle of repeated birth and death. Because of if you accept a new body, again in that body you will start acting. So one has to act in an intelligent way. Krishna says that it's not that after studying Bhagavad Gita, the you is there will be no more miseries in your life. Krishna repeatedly says the miseries will come because those are slated to come the moment you accepted the present body. So your miseries, your enjoyments, every your prarabdha is for this lifetime is already fixed, and that is now getting delivered to you from time to time. However, act during this lifetime, act in such a way that you burn all the unaccrued fruits, and act in such a way that no new fruits are getting generated, and thereby in this lifetime or at the most next lifetime, finish your business and go back to Krishna. So this is in nutshell that what we have discussed so far in Bhagavad Gita. 2.52 was Yadate Mohaka Leelam Buddhir Buddhir Vyati Tarishyati Tada Gantasya Narvedam Shrotavyasya Shrutasya Cha. In the 52nd and 53rd verse, Krishna is now going to explain about a person who is equipoised in the midst of all chaos, all difficulties. He doesn't get bewildered by difficulties. He also doesn't get elated by success. And one is this is an advanced spiritual yogi who is, even though he is while acting in this world also, he's able to remain unaffected by the dualities of this world, the good and bad of this world, the profit and loss of this world, the gains and the losses of this world, the the praise and insults that are offered by the world. So the ups and downs of this world. So this person remains in this world but remain aloof in this world. Just like a lotus remains in the keychad but does not get affected by the keychad, does not become dirty like that keychad, that dirt. Now, so similarly, this person remains unaffected by all the chaos that is around him, that is surrounded by him. So Prabhupada translate this very beautiful, that when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Prabhupada writes in the purport that the Vedic writes so basically, Prabhupada talks about a person who is following Krishna consciousness and a person who is not following Krishna consciousness, and what are their duties. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kind of prayer 3 times a day, taking bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. So Prabhupada gave a brief list of things that must be done by everyone, all the neophytes. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in the revealed scriptures. So, scriptures talk about penance and austerities, sacrifices. And but Prabhupada says if one is fixed in Krishna consciousness, if one is performing his duties according to the instructions of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in Krishna consciousness. One is in Krishna consciousness, then one need not, one become exempt. One need not follow all the all the recommendations, penances and sacrifices recommended in the revealed scriptures. So they are good, but they are there for the neophytes, those who are not fully following Krishna consciousness philosophy, not acting according to the devotee's instructions. So Prabhupada writes further that, and similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. So Prabhupada does not recommend following different rituals, different Vedic rituals, which are actually written in the Vedas, even though they are Vedic. Prabhupada says ultimate purpose of the Veda is to understand that Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Krishna is the ultimate Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the ultimate goal of all the living entities. The Vedas should ultimately, after study of all the Vedic wisdom that is available, one should come to this conclusion that Vedescha Sarvam Aham Eva Vedyam. The whole purpose of Vedas is to understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one should dedicate one's life for the devotional service to Krishna, loving service to Krishna, love and serve Krishna. If after study of Veda one is not able to come to this conclusion, Prabhupada say all these efforts are useless. Everything is a waste of time, because in Vedas there will be lot of contrary instructions will be given. There will be those who don't understand Krishna consciousness philosophy. They will be given. There will be some recommendation for them to worship some demigods. Now those contrasting informations, instructions in the Vedic wisdom can confuse a person, and to reach a conclusion that the Vasudevam Sarvam Iti, that conclusion one may not be able to reach if one is not practicing his bhakti under guidance. But Prabhupada says if one who has understood this and practicing devotional service, he has no other business to do. He does not need not do or need not follow any other recommendations given in the Vedic scriptures, which are primarily meant for the neophytes. Neophytes are the ones who are new and who keep fighting. Means they are not yet fully aware of the philosophical truth. They are not yet practicing devotional service, and therefore if you are at that stage, Prabhupada says you may follow some of the other instructions given in the Vedas, but quickly come to the stage of Krishna consciousness, and then you're exempt. You need not follow any of the other instructions. Demigod worship, this devata worship, that vrat, ये करना वो करना, ये पूजा वो पूजा, यहाँ जाना वहां जाना, कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Because once Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam, once you get convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He can give you everything and anything. There's nothing that he cannot give. There's nothing, no need for you to worship any other devta. Krishna in his Govardhan Leela also explains this very categorically to Nanda Baba. All the demigods are his servants. They are doing their part. For that, you don't have to give them any bribe in the form of puja and vrata and vaikalya and prasad, bhoga. कुछ देने की जरूरत नहीं है. They are doing my duty. They are acting on my behalf. I have deployed them. I am employing them. I'm I'm maintaining them also, just like I'm maintaining all the living entities. I'm maintaining devatas also. So your offering to them makes them will just make them arrogant. So don't give them anything. Don't bribe them anything, and I will take care of them anyway. So similarly, and that's precisely the point that no one should not follow any other worship once one comes to the platform of Krishna consciousness. Krishna says in the next verse that he's again describing the feature of this person who is fixed in Krishna consciousness. And he says, Shruti Vipratipannate Yada Sthasyasi Nischala Samadhava Achala Buddhis Tada Yogam Avapsasi. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, Samadham Achala Buddhi, Achala. Your buddhi is a sthir, is achala. And then you will have attained divine consciousness. Yogam Avapsasi. आपने समाधि का अचीव कर लिया है. तो दिस इज the position of explain, Krishna is explaining that this position is that of a person who is निश्च उसकी बुद्धि अचला है, who can be, who is going to be calm, who is always remain, will remain calm in any kind of chaos. Nothing can disturb this mind of this person, and he is always fixed doing his part, doing his duty, doesn't get affected by the highs and lows of life, handles them very well. Nothing can disturb his mind. So this person is what Krishna is describing, a highly spiritually, highly elevated person who, even though acting in the material world, remains unaffected by the dualities of this world, the good and bad of this world, the ugly and the 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 good and bad, the high and low of this world, the praise and insults of this world. So nothing affects him. Nothing kind of affects him. Now, this is the situation. Now, this is not a situation that he's emotionless. This person is emotionless. He is emotionless. He has emotions, and he is perfectly situated in trance. In trance, he's clear, he's very much focused on his goal, and therefore he doesn't get disturbed by the, and his goal is much higher than what is currently available, and therefore to get that goal, he doesn't care much about the small gains and small losses. How do we understand this? Let's take an example of a person who will be getting who comes to know that their father, grandfather, or great grandfather have left him a property of 2000 crore, or 200 crore, 2000 crore worth of property with wealth awaits him, and there is a limited time in which he needs to go establish, give his credentials and claim that property. Um, Now, when one is assured of getting 200 crore, one and that too, that has to happen in a small, brief, limited time. One will not be much worried about a 200 rupees note lying on the street while going on that path. While going, if they find a 200 rupee note lying on the street, uh, while going to claim that 200 crore or 2000 crore property or wealth, this 200 rupee note can be a small gain if they wait and chase that note to pick it up. If they don't do it, it's a loss. And but their eyes are fixed on the higher goal, which is which is far exceeding what the present pleasure is. And because of that, because their goal is high, um, they are focusing on more on that aspect only. So even if this small allurements comes in between on the way, because of their fixed focus on the higher goal, they don't get much affected by the smaller allurement, smaller tempting situations, which promises some small enjoyment here, small enjoyment there. But they don't get affected by that. It's not that they don't want enjoyment. It's not that no currently, but it's not that if assume one person does not have that kind of a property to claim and has nothing, is penniless, then for him that 200 rupee note will matter. He will chase, even if the wind takes it away, he will run faster than that note and grab it and then utilize it. But a person who is going to get 2000 crore, for him, this 200 rupee note lying on the street will really not matter, will not really make him will not disturb him. If he picks it up, it's a gain. If he lose it, somebody else go and pick it up, it's his loss. But the small gain and small loss, he's above both of them. And hence, he's fixed in his consciousness. He's fixed in his consciousness. Now, Krishna is identifying Arjuna not to be at this level. Therefore, he's describing this situation of this person, spiritually elevated person, to Arjuna so that Arjuna can get inspired to become one like this person. Arjuna is thinking on the other side that this person is so much spiritually elevated. Will he fight a war? Will that person shoot arrow? Will that person will kill his relatives? So Arjuna is also confused, but he says, "I Krishna has described me something that I'm not." So there is a gap. I am here probably, and Krishna, what Krishna has described me is somewhere here. So I need to bridge that gap. I need to become like that person. So let me ask more about that person. And then Prabhupada write in the purport that to say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. The highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna and that one's only business is to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. Again, discharge one's duties, not throw away one's duties, not give up one's duties, but in Krishna consciousness. So, Mam Anusmara Yudhya cha. If Yuddha is your duty, then Yuddha कीजिए. But कैसे कीजिए? मेरा स्मरण करके कीजिए. स्मरण करके इसलिए because of my energy you are able to fight. Because of my krupa you are able to pick up that the bow and arrow and shoot arrows. Because of my I am the ability in men. So your ability to shoot arrow comes from me. I am the prowess of the powerful people. So the power that you claim to have is actually coming from me. So everything is me. Then you remain aware of me while doing your duty. So so that's how one has to discharge one's duties in Krishna consciousness. So this is Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotees of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for promotion to heavenly kingdom. One has only to carry out the order of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master, or the mentor devotee under whom we are practicing Krishna consciousness. The 54th verse is where Arjuna now is asking Krishna a question, a very beautiful question. And because now he has understood that he is lacking something, Krishna wants him to be here, he is here, and there is a gap. And he now wants to know more how he can learn more about that person that Krishna has described and try to become one, try to become that person. अर्जुन उवाच स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्थस्य केशव स्थितदिहिकं प्रभाषेत किम आसीत व्रजेत किम. Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in the transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?" Very funny kind of questions, very funny sounding questions, but instead, actually, they are very deeply philosophical questions. One may say, how does he walk? How can that be philosophical? How can sitting, when I'm asking somebody how you sit, uh, how is that philosophical at all? Language, how does one speak and what is his language, what philosophy could there exist? So this is Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a Gita is a poem. In the poem is always associated with ornamental, literally ornaments. And So this is in a metaphoric way. This is in a literal way. If you try to read and understand it in a literal way, it will sincerely really not make any sense. But if you understand that these are metaphoric representations spoken by Arjuna, and Krishna will actually sincerely answer all of these questions one after another. Had they been stupid questions, Krishna would not have bothered to answer. But Krishna elaborately answered these questions over multiple verses going forward in this chapter. Ka bhasha. Bhasha is, in general, we use bhasha to describe the characteristics, symptoms. So, ka bhasha means Krishna is Arjuna is asking Krishna to explain the general symptoms or characteristics of such person. He wants to become like one. He understand he is not at that level. Now he wants to understand more about this person. If I want to become like someone, I should know who that person is. How can I identify that person? And then how can I try to become like him? So he's asking ka bhasha. Bhasha describes characteristics. So he's asking what are the general symptoms or characteristics of such person? And Krishna is going to answer that question in 2.55. So this is 2.54th verse. Immediately, Krishna will answer that the question in 2.55. Kim prabhasheta? How does he speak? Now, it's not about, is the question is not about how fluency of speech. It's about receiving praise or blame, affection or hate. What will he say internally as well as externally? Why internally? Because what before we speak out loud to other people, we speak internally to our own self. If we are insulted, there is a constant chatter that happens inside us first, which we express it outwardly to other people. So there is a conversation that happens with the self internally, and then conversation happens with the rest of the world externally. Krishna is going to reply to these questions in 2.56 and 57. Kim asita? How does he sit? Now, sleeping in sitting, there's a difference. In sleeping, we are helplessly, we are not conscious. We are not conscious, and we are in inactive state in an unconscious by losing our consciousness. When we are in deep sleep, we just don't know. It's not that we are controlling our senses, but sitting is. um indicates that one has capacity to stand and one has capacity to do things, but one is restraining his capacity and 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 um, and holding things back to himself. So how does he restrain his senses from the sense object in the world full of temptations? So the sitting means deliberate action. Sitting like a tortoise who withdraw all the limbs and take them inside when he senses there's a threat nearby. So, sitting indicates uh, the sense control. The sitting indicates the how one can control one's senses in the world full of temptations. Full of temptations. The world the push us very hard to go and enjoy sensually various objects, various products, various objects. So the world want us to enjoy, but a Muni does not delight in that. He is able to withdraw his senses from the sense object. And Krishna will answer elaborately that in the 58 to 63rd verse of the same second chapter. Vrajeta Kim. Whole life one does not want to sit around, do nothing. whole life, one don't have to just sit around and do nothing. One is forced to act. One is supposed to act. A ship is meant for sailing. And then Vrajetakim means how does he walk? Again, it's not a walking about like a Phocian model, but walking indicates that he will be functioning in the world. And again, the world which is filled with so much temptations, um, how does he act in correct way? That that is the question that the Arjuna is asking. That will be answered in the 64 to 71. From verse 64 to 71 will be the answer to that this particular question. So let's start. This is going to be he's our poster boy for today's session. How can he be calm? How can he be cool in such a chaos? So this precisely is the question asked by the Arjuna. So we'll talk about couple of sections. We'll talk today about the first Kim Ka Bhasha. What are the general symptoms of the person? And then we'll talk briefly about the 5657, that how does he speak on receiving this thing, and how does internally and externally. And we'll discuss one quick case study of on the life of Srila Prabhupada, and then we will close the today's session for and then open it for the question answer if any. So we'll talk about Ka Bhasha. Ka Bhasha is replied in the 55th verse of Bhagavad Gita. Prajahati yada kaman sarva partha manogatan atmanye atmana tushtaha sthita prajna tadochate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So, Manogatan, we discussed in our previous session that the desires, when a man, wherever there is a man written, women's are included as well. So, man or a woman gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, manogatan. And what does he do? So he give up varieties of desire for sense gratification which comes from mental concoction. So he does not give up sense enjoyment completely, but whatever is arising out of mental concoction, those desires he give up. And then, how does he act? He finds satisfaction in the self alone. Then he is said to be in pure confidence. So so there are two ways in which where we can search for happiness. The we can search for happiness outward by doing activities we become happy. And atmanye eva atmana tushtaha. That person can search for happiness within in our heart there is Krishna, and Krishna is full of bliss. So by simply by connecting with Krishna we can also experience unlimited bliss. Anandam ambudhi vardhanam. Ambudhi means ocean. What kind of ananda one can experience by connecting with that Krishna inside our heart? Ambudhi, like ocean like happiness. It's unlimited happiness. What kind of ocean? Ambudhi Vardhanam, ever increasing ocean. Have you heard of that? So this is like that of a size of an ocean, and that ocean is also limitless ocean. It's ever increasing ocean. Ambudhi Vardhanam. How frequently this ocean increases? Ah, then Mahaprabhu says that Ambudhi Vardhanam Pratipadam, every step, every time you chant name of Krishna, this ocean like happiness increases. And next time you chant again, second time you chant the name of Krishna, it again can increase. So Mahaprabhu says, you just cannot imagine. You have not experienced anything like this. This is the nature of spiritual happiness that await us. This is the nature and quantity and nature of spiritual happiness that await us. This is far greater than the 2000 crore of estate that we spoke about in the example versus 200 rupee note. This is far, far greater than unimaginable today for us. But that is the kind of anandam ambudhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamruta swadanam. So it can be completely relish. So that kind of happiness when it is awaiting us, why will you, how much, how much time, money, effort, um, energy you will invest in buying a car and satisfying a girl or a, um, or or doing any worldly achievement, becoming number one table tennis player in my society, in my company, or winning some cricket tournament. And how, what is this and compared to what we are going to get? So that person, when they understand that Vasudevam Sarvamiti and Krishna is everything, and they act to connect themselves with Krishna in the heart through the means of japa, through the means of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, through the means of performing devotional service. Now they get, their eyes are set on that kind of happiness, which is ocean like in size, which is ever increasing at every step. Now they are not bothered. They're not bothered. Even if some small desires comes here and there, they're easily able to shut them down. This is the nature of a yogi who is fixed in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada write in the purport that consequently it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kind of sense desires manufactured by mental concoction. Artificially, such desires cannot be stopped. Prabhupada is very practical that at the beginning or for a new devotee, these desires will keep coming up. Eat this, eat that, go there, go here, watch this, watch that. मैच आ रहा है देख लो, फाइनल है देख लो, मूवी आ रहा है देख लो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, गलत थोड़ी ना है। म्यूजिक सुनो, 6 घंटा म्यूजिक ही सुनो, ये म्यूजिक वो म्यूजिक, कभी ओल्ड सॉन्ग, कभी न्यू सॉन्ग, कभी इंग्लिश सॉन्ग, कभी पॉप सॉन्ग, रॉक सॉन्ग, दिस सॉन्ग दैट सॉन्ग। सो कभी ये गेम देखो, कभी वो गेम देखो, कभी पॉलिटिक्स देखो, कभी इकोनॉमिक्स देखो, कभी स्टॉक मार्केट देखो, ये करो वो करो। Even though they don't sound to be and there doesn't seems to be anything unethical or anything illegal about these desires, but but they do prevent us from engaging in our from our engagement from the Krishna consciousness activities. So uh, excessive desires arising out of our mind need to be stopped. The flow of desire need to be checked. So artificially stopping it is not possible. Prabhupada acknowledges it. But then he gives solution also. He says, but if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desire subsides without extraneous effort. कृष्णा सूर्य सम माया अंधकार जहां कृष्ण तहा नाही मायार अधिकार. What it means is Krishna Surya Sama. The moment sun rises in the horizon, Maya is like andhakar. And Jahan Krishna Tahanahi Mayara Adhikar. So the moment sun rays enter my house, the darkness I have without any extraneous effort, the darkness disappears. The moment sun rises, the darkness disappears from this planet. So I don't have to do any extraneous effort to push that darkness out. Automatically it disappears. The moment the sun comes, the darkness goes. Similarly, the moment Krishna get manifest, we become fixed in Krishna consciousness. We accept theoretically, mentally that Vasudevam Sarvamiti, कृष्णस्तु भगवान स्वयं, मुझे भक्त सिर्फ कृष्ण की भक्ति करनी है. The moment, even if we mentally accept it, intellectually accept it, and start putting in action accordingly, that Krishna ही मेरे सब कुछ है, all my, I will, let me take ultimate shelter at the feet of Krishna and his devotees. The moment I conclude this, uh, the everything else goes away. Everything, all other sensual desires, Prabhupada says, will immediately subside without any extraneous effort. And therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation. For this, devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. Therefore, yeah, the highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. So, the finding happiness within, how does that happen? That happens by realizing himself as the, by getting to the true realization, uh, convincing oneself of the reality that I cannot exist without Krishna. My hand cannot exist without my body. My hand, when my hand realizes the reality that hand has to serve the body, hand is happy, body is happy. Until that time, my hand, as long as my hand is trying to be happy independently, trying to eat rasgulla independently, trying to enjoy food independently, my hand is always in trouble. uh, Even though complete, my hand needs to serve my body, and then my hand can get nourishment, my hand can be happy. Similarly, we are complete in one sense, but as long as we are trying to enjoy independently, we will remain incomplete and we will remain unsatisfied. The moment we realizes that I'm servant of Krishna, I need to love and serve Krishna, from that moment onwards, our life can becomes completely happy. We can find happiness within. Without any external factors, also we can be happy. Simply by serving Krishna, simply by connecting with Krishna, we can be happy. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternity, eternally serving the Supreme Lord. The second, Kim Prabhasheta, will spend some time on this and then we will conclude today's session. We'll look at one verse in this section. Dukheshvu anudigna manaha sukheshu vigata spruha vitaraga bhaya krodha sitadhir muniruchate. One who is not disturbed in the mind even amidst threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. We'll read the purport and then we'll do a quick case study on the purport and then we'll conclude today's session. Should take about 10 minutes more. So please stay, uh, please stay with me for this time. The Sthitadhar Muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. Very beautiful. We can actually, debate on each of these terminology Prabhupada used in this beautiful purport. Creative speculation. He's exhausted all his business of creative speculation. Why? Because he's fixed. He's fixed in Krishna consciousness. Is always in Krishna consciousness. What is creative speculation? Maybe he's God, maybe that is God, maybe I am God, maybe this, maybe that. ये maybe के बाद जो कुछ आता है, all that is speculation. Nobody has real knowledge except for Bhagavad Gita. There is no knowledge that exists in the world. And whoever speaks out of their own concoction, mental concoction, are speaking garbage. And that is the speculation. And if you see four friends talking, a group of people talking, debating, and discussing, they're all giving their own respective theories, which, and all of that is nothing but garbage. All of that is nothing but uh, their respective mental speculation. Nothing is worth listening and nothing is worth correcting because whole of it is wrong. So that mental speculation, one is exhausted. This all is business of creative speculation, mental speculation. When you get become fixed in Krishna consciousness, otherwise you will keep doing this speculation all the time, and you will reach nowhere. It is like running in circle. You go nowhere. But that is the condition of these people, and there are so many people around all of us who do this. He is one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculation and has come to the conclusion that Lord Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. Vasudeva sarvam iti sa Mahatma sudurlabha. He is called a Mahatma or a Muni, fixed in his mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself worthy of more trouble due to past misdeeds, or and by grace of the Lord they are minimized. So what is happening over here? Is saying that person is not at all disturbed or by the onslaught of threefold miseries. All your Bhagavatam characters, Prahlad Maharaj, they faced these threefold miseries. They faced many miserable conditions before before they met Lord, and during all of those times, they are constantly remembering Krishna. They are constantly uh, thankful to Krishna. They are seeing everything as a mercy of Krishna. They are thinking they probably deserved more, but their troubles are minimized by Krishna, by the grace of Lord. They are minimized. And hence, even in the midst of all miseries, they are still Krishna conscious. They are still loving and serving Krishna. There's their desire to love and serve Krishna remains unaffected, even while suffering the miserable conditions of life. Similarly, when he is happy, the contrast, Krishna Prabhupada gives the contrast situation now, that when they are facing miseries, how do they maintain their consciousness? How do they remain Krishna conscious? Similarly, when they are happy, Prabhupada gives that example. Now, similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of that happiness. He realizes that it is due only to the mercy to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. So the comfortable position, happy position should result into better service to the Lord. Happy, comfortable position, condition of life, when that is possible, when we will thank, when we will be grateful to God, grateful to Krishna for putting us in this condition and considering ourselves unworthy. May I'm unworthy. I'm unworthy to be in the home with air condition and a car at the outside my home, and I'm unworthy. But by your grace, you have given me this. So let me use this in your service. Let me use all of this to give you service, better service to the Lord. The moment you think you are worthy of something, you are entitled of something, you deserve something, your gratitude towards Lord's finishes. And then from then onwards, only arrogance will come, pride will come, and you will be unhappy despite of all the comfort that you will have in the life. So the key here is thinking himself unworthy of happiness. one is realized it's only due to the Lord's grace that one is in such a comfortable position. Now, acknowledging this, let me serve Lord better. Let me use whatever I have for the service of rendering better service to the Lord. So even in happy condition, I'm not forgetting Lord. I'm forgetting not for, I'm still utilizing everything what I have. And my desire to love and serve God does not reduces. In fact, it increases. It increases. You would have seen that it increases in both the conditions. When I'm facing miseries, my desire to love and serve God always increases. My when I'm in happy condition, again it increases. So either way, I'm continuously loving and serving God, loving and serving Krishna. And for the service of the Lord, He is always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversions. Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. Attachment, aversions. Attachment, bhaya is a fear, and krodha is anger. Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. The attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. Determination, read, as to love and serve God without interruption. Apratihata, ahetuki apratihata. What we'll do is, this is heavy instructions. We will, we probably will, one may wonder that really there exists any such personality who demonstrate this in one's life. So let's discuss take this purport and discuss with reference to the life of Srila Prabhupada to understand, do we see any similarities in the way he lived his life? And did we see, with example, somebody can explain that, can they explain that whether how Prabhupada demonstrated this in his life? If time, I'm aware it's 12:35. Uh, Very quickly, we can go through one comment on each paragraph. If you have read Srila Prabhupada Leelamrut, if you're aware of his life story, give very pointed answers, or I can just walk you through this and then you can think about it later. How do you want to do it? Do you want to do group discussion? Uh, okay, so let
Hare
me.
Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji?
Hare Hare Krishna, Guruji. Kind of, probably if we'll get comments from the devotees also, then will be good. That is my opinion. Will be good. In case you find it good. Hare Krishna.
I don't want to take it beyond a point because it's always late already. We can extend it up to 12:45. Let's start raising hand if you want to speak about any of these paragraphs. Vikas Prabhuji, you can start with the first. Relate it
Hare,
with life of Srila Prabhupada and Lakshmi.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Yeah.
Dandavat Pranam, Guruji. So, this Dhir, he actually, so many conditions came in the life of Srila Prabhupada. And in all the conditions, he was actually pointed that in these conditions, means more particularly, there were so many failures. But his, that hankering or his mood to serve Krishna in all those conditions. Means if this particular technique has failed, let me try this.
Yeah.
Let
So
me do this. Let me do this.
with reference to the one what I have circled, Situdhir Muni, was Prabhupada
Yes, yes, Guruji.
any speculation of, or was he fixed in Krishna consciousness? So he
He
was.
was fixed in Krishna consciousness, yes.
Yeah.
And he exhausted all ways and means that how he can lovingly serve Krishna. So in
Okay.
that way, he was Siddhirmuni and he was continue to doing that,
Okay.
serve Krishna. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Lakshmi Mataji, second paragraph.
ये अमेरिका जब गए थे उनका तो तबीयत बहुत खराब थी, लेकिन उन्होंने कृष्णा का ऊपर में तो सब कुछ छोड़ के अ- अपना काम किया है। और अमेरिका में जैसा उनका तो इतना प्रॉपर एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं मिला था, लेकिन उन्होंने अपना धीरज रख के उस काम के लिए तो फिर किया है पूरा तो।
Okay, करेक्ट। या वेरी नाइस। ड्यूरिंग वॉयज जो शिप पे भी उनको दो हार्ट अटैक्स आए थे, एंड देन ही वाज कंप्लीटली डिपेंडेंट ऑन कृष्णा। वासुदेवम सर्वम इति, वासुदेवः सर्वम इति, ये ही लिव्ड दिस कॉन्सेप्ट which comes in the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But Prabhupada always had this complete faith in Krishna कि कृष्णा ने अगर मुझे जिंदा अमेरिका में लाया है तो उनका कोई हेतु होगा इसमें, and whatever he wants me to do, I will do. And with deep, complete faith, complete surrender in Krishna, Prabhupada entered America with two heart attacks in the 45-day voyage in container ship with bare minimum facilities, no money. He entered, he took that step. He put a foot on the land of America. Um, Nobody to receive him, nobody to talk to him, nobody to there's no hope. He didn't knew whether to turn left or to turn right. दैट काइंड ऑफ कंडीशन, आज हम कहीं ट्रैवल करते हैं तो कार बुक करते हैं, उबर बुक करते हैं फ्रॉम आवर घर टू स्टेशन और एयरपोर्ट, फ्रॉम देन एयरपोर्ट टू अनदर एयरपोर्ट, देन वी हैव अ ड्रॉप फैसिलिटी, देन वी हैव होटल प्री बुक होता है, रूम हम ले देख के होटल के फोटो भी चेक करके लेते हैं, देन होटल से कार बुक करते हैं विजिट करने के लिए, फिर लंच कहाँ कर, ब्रेकफास्ट कहाँ करेंगे, लंच कहाँ करेंगे, डिनर कहाँ करेंगे, ये सब फिक्स होता है। एंड देन आवर नाइस मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट भी होता है, उसमें मेडिकल केयर होता है, किसी का सर दुख है, इमिडिएटली केयर इज गिवन। सो व्हेन वी गो, वी डू सो मच, वी टेक, I mean, we plan for so many things. But Prabhupada, Prabhupada simply went with Srimad Bhagavatam because he had complete faith in Krishna. Vasudevam Sarvamiti. The next point is um, he's not disturbed by the onslaughts of threefold miseries and accept all miseries as mercy of the Lord. Did Prabhupada face any miserable conditions in his endeavor in America? Anybody wants to? Yes, Kanchan Mataji, want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I came across one reading where I was just reading that he was refused to get the support for publishing the books as well as for the travel to US. But he still thanks Krishna that he is not letting him go because he wants him to upgrade himself and then accordingly reach there so that people are refusing him because Krishna wants him to be independent and go there and find some other way to do that. So he was grateful to Krishna still, though he was refused by many from the many people whom he have asked support for.
Okay.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
thank you, Mataji. Swapnil, you want to say something? Vikas Sharma afterwards.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, Srila Prabhupada was epitome of Krishna consciousness, and if we have gone through the last day video, we could see that he was in a very very miserable condition, but all the time we could see that he was dedicated to the services that he had promised to the Lord, and he, as the verse says, that thinking himself worthy of more trouble. In fact, he never let that go out of his mind, and we could see throughout his time, although his body was deteriorating, but as a pure devotee, as a pure soul, he was dedicated and he was totally conscious, and that's what I call that he was a totally Krishna person. and that's very motivating, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Subhash Prabhuji, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And in continuation of that, see, last जो श्लोक है भगवत गीता का, यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुधर तत्र शीर विजयो भूते ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम. आई थिंक उसका सही सार श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने समझ लिया था और हम सबकी सेवा में उन्होंने ये सब प्रस्तुत किया. दूसरा, आज जैसे हमने देखा कि बॉडीली डिटेरिएशन टाइम के हिसाब से होगा, बट सोल इज एटर्नल, इट विल ट्रेवल टू द नेक्स्ट बॉडी. तो वो बॉडीली डिटेरिएशन या उनका हेल्थ कंडीशन खराब होने के बावजूद भी असली कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस क्या होता है वो उसका सार उनके आत्मा के लेवल पर था, उसको वो कंटिन्यूएशन रखा. इसलिए काफ़ी चैलेंजेस डिफिकल्टीज आई, जो भी फिजिकल या वहाँ एनवायरमेंटल, उसके बावजूद भी उन्होंने अपना लक्ष्य और अपना जो पर्पज जारी रखा. हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So, very nicely put, and we can speak more. Atishi, you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, I wanted to speak in the same line. Like I read when Srila Prabhupada ji was just 65 years old, and he was told by his Gurudev to go to America since he spoke English very well. So he was told to go to America and preach, spread Krishna consciousness. And he boarded the ship, I read, with just 40 rupees in Indian currency and Bhagavad Gita and Shrimad Bhagavatam. And he boarded the ship, and he had 2 attacks already, and the doctor said that if he would have third attack, then he would lose his life. So the captain of the ship wanted to, he was not very far from the coast from India. So the captain of the ship told him that he wanted him to go back to India, but he said no, he would go to America. That is, his first destination was New York, and by God's grace, by Lord's grace, he did not have the third attack, and he reached New York, and he was successful in spreading Krishna consciousness. And there were at that time, like there was the prevalence of hippies there, and they used to be busy in drinking. And the environment was not at all favorable for Srila Prabhupada, but still he did not give up, and he continued in his process, and he became he really was successful in spreading Krishna consciousness even there, far from our country.
True, Mataji. Very nicely presented. Thank you so much. Yes, and we can speak again at length of this topic. How the in the midst of all miseries. So he was a respected sannyasi in Vrindavan. He was a sannyasi, and he received this instruction to go to West and preach in 1922 when he first met his Guru Maharaj. And he kept his instruction in his heart, and he translated Bhagavatam. He knew by listening to Krishna Katha, people's consciousness can change. And he carried Chaitanya Chatamrut in Bangla, Chaitanya Chatamrut, Bengali, and then sets of English translated Bhagavatam, first canto, as his only possession. And with this, he went to America, lived in New York for 1 year. He said to some of his disciples, early disciples, when in one of the conversations, he said that I cannot even describe to you what I went through in the first year of my stay in New York until I met devotees in 1966, and ISKCON was formed and everything became all right from then onwards. But during all this while, Prabhupada suffered immensely. The New York weather was completely new to him. The people, as Mataji described, were were completely unrespectful, completely were weird, and doing all kind of nonsensical things. It's a very, for a sannyasi to go there itself is was an austerity. But Prabhupada was tolerating all of that, and the nature challenges, the winter challenges. He didn't have clothes, he didn't have a place to live, he didn't have food to eat, and all of that he was tolerating because he wanted to carry out the order of his Guru Maharaj. And he said, I never forget Krishna. At times, I was confused how to serve Krishna, but never even once I thought whether I should serve Krishna. I always wanted to serve Krishna. I always wanted to do something for my Guru Maharaj. At times, I was not able to figure it out कि ऐसे करूँ कि ऐसे करूँ. That perplexity was there, but my desire to serve Krishna was always there. So that is how we understand that in the midst of all miseries, also how Prabhupada remained fixed in the service to his Guru and Gauranga Krishna. In the happier times, we'll quickly move. I see no hands raised, so we'll quickly move. In the happier times, also Prabhupada gave all credit to his Guru Maharaj, Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Krishna. Uh, he he said the only credit to me is I repeated the words spoken by previous acharyas, and so that's all. And he never took any credit. What did he achieve? He had more than 5,000 initiated disciples, many sannyasis who started initiating further. So he had that time also he had disciples as well as grand disciples. He had opened more than 100 temples all around the world. He had traveled around the world for 14 times, preaching Krishna consciousness to the world. And millions and millions of people were benefiting from the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, eating Krishna Prasad, visiting temple and experiencing spiritual happiness, and purifying their consciousness, begin to purifying their consciousness, follow four regularity principles for purification, and so on and so forth. So in that happy condition also, Prabhupada was always grateful to Krishna. He never thought this is his achievement, and that is how he remained always humble servant of his Guru and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. The next is and for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by the attachments and aversions. Uh, Prabhupada fought war for Mumbai land when the landlord took money from him and tried to cheat the devotees. He used to say, "You can't cheat me. I'm a Calcutta man. I know business tactics." So, so Prabhupada fought a very, very hard battle with that landlord to give that land to Radha Rasbihari Ji. He said, I promise Radha Rasbihari Ji that I will build a palace for you here on this land itself. And I will make sure that I will do everything in my control to do that. So he requested Radha Rasbihari, the deities, to 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 perform little, to stay in the austere conditions, to allow him to build a palace for them. So this is one place, this is one temple where deities perform austerities for the at the request of his devotee. Deities perform austerities. They lived in a tin shed. There was not much. The dresses were very minimal. Um, Today we see elaborate dressing of Radha Rasbihari temple happen in Juhu, but that time very few dresses were there. The bhoga was very little, or the quality was not that good. There were rats and snakes everywhere on that land, and something or the other would break. Sometimes no water, sometimes no electricity. So many difficulties. The devotees and Lord, both of them were going through so many difficulties. But Prabhupada was like a lion fighting it all out for his Lord and for his Guru. So he was daring, he was active, and not influenced by the attachment and aversion. So this is this is this is how Prabhupada fought the battles. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment because his life is dedicated to the service of Lord. So, um, so Prabhupada, even when his movement became successful, Prabhupada, it's not that Prabhupada would always go out and preach. Prabhupada was always there on the battlefield. ऐसा नहीं कि अभी 100 मंदिर बन गए, अच्छा सा मंदिर देख लेता हूँ, मस्त बड़ा रूम बना लेता हूँ मेरे लिए और ऐश करता हूँ. Prabhupada, that thought never crossed his mind. He left his body on 14th November 1977. And in the midst of October, also, he was traveling to London. He was speaking with the devotees. He was answering questions of the journalist. And then, in as late as 10th November, he was translating Bhagavatam because that was his duty. He had not finished translation of Bhagavatam. He was in the 10th canto and using dictaphone. He was on the deathbed practically. Devotees were telling him the Sanskrit verses and he was dictating purports to them. The perfect transcendental purports coming from the mouth of a person who is unable to even open his eyes, was barely able to open his eyes and barely able to drink Charanamrut. At that stage, also, he was dictating perfect purports, transcendental purports of Srimad Bhagavatam till almost the very last day. So he was not attached. He was attached only to Krishna. He was dedicated only in the service of the Lord. He had no other attachment, no other dedication. Prabhupada was asked in those last days, do you have any desire? And he said, no. He has no desire. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma no shochati no kankshati. He had no lamentation, no complaints, no desires. And that's how he left his body, listening to the kirtan, 24-hour kirtan that was going on in his room, all the devotees serving him nicely, Radha, Krishna Balram and Radha Shyam Sundar, Gaur Nitai, in witnessing this glorious departure of their favorite devotee, and that's how Prabhupada left his body. Consequently, he is not at all angry even when his attempts were unsuccessful. Prabhupada was a failure as far as the preaching goes until the age of 70 of his life. Till the 69 or 70 years of age, he didn't even had one disciple, while all his attempts to preach in India were completely unsuccessful. Later also, for 1 year in America, New York, he struggled to speak with people, struggled to initiate that contact with people, start Bhagavad Gita classes, start Sankirtan, start open a temple. He was unsuccessful. And he said many times that thought crossed my mind that I should probably go back to India. But he persisted. He persisted, and he said, "It's not about my success or my failure, but so the success didn't elated him, failure didn't depress him." He says, "I was always continuously thinking how best I can serve Krishna in this condition, whatever his condition was." When his condition was miserable, he was still serving Krishna. When his condition improved, he was still serving Krishna. Success or failure, he's continuously serving Krishna. Success or no success, Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. So Prabhupada said, at times I was perplexed. Perplexed is not knowing how to serve Krishna. Should I do this? Should I do that? So that confusion was there at times in my difficult conditions. But he said, I was never discouraged. I was perplexed, but I was never discouraged. I always wanted to serve Krishna. Never, not even once a thought crossed my mind कि इसका क्या जरूरत है. वैसे भी भगवान ही नहीं चाहते शायद कि मैं प्रीच करूं. इतना अनसक्सेसफुल हूं, इतना मैं नालायक हूं. I'm insignificant, beggar, he used to refer to himself in that beautiful poem that he wrote while approaching Boston Harbor on the ship. But he was like, but he, this is what he was. So what we've done is we have taken the same purport that Prabhupada wrote and we have related it with an example of Srila Prabhupada's life story himself to understand that this is doable. The whole point of doing this is to come to a conclusion that ऐसा नहीं कि ये सिर्फ भागवतम के कैरेक्टर्स करते हैं. Of course they did it, but Srila Prabhupada also did it, and so did our Guru Maharaj. So we have so many examples. So it's not something that is undoable. If we apply ourselves to the instructions by Guru Gauranga and Lord Krishna, this is doable by us also. So it's up to us to take inspiration from the life of Srila Prabhupada and practice devotional service wholeheartedly to the best of our ability to make our life successful. So to summarize today's discussion, we discuss about the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, that how Krishna began his instructions with Atma Gyan, or knowledge about the real identity. Aham Brahmasmi is good but not sufficient, because one still is forced to act during one's lifetime and one must know how to act. Krishna advises to work in detachment or in devotional service, which can help one raise oneself to the spiritual level of consciousness. Arjuna requested Krishna to explain the nature of this person who is fixed in this spiritual consciousness. And then Prabhupada fully demonstrate. We saw two aspects of that: the sense control and action. How one control the senses, how one act with the senses, is what we will discuss in the next session. But what we discuss is a case study of Srila Prabhupada's life, from Srila Prabhupada's life, to understand how he exemplified, how he practically implemented all the instructions, all that he has himself written in the Bhagavad Gita purport is, and whatever Krishna wanted, how he personally has implemented it in his life. And by following his footsteps, by learning from this example, we can also perfect our life. So we'll just conclude today's session. We'll just wait for a minute or two just to see if we have any questions. Can chaos be divine, a way for Krishna to push us forward for growth or realizations? At a material level, chaos is always chaos. It's a spiritual perspective that we can use to utilize it for our growth in Krishna consciousness. For example, if persons fall sick, it's very difficult for that person to see it as a mercy from Krishna. That sickness as a mercy, an opportunity for him to connect more with Krishna. But by grace of devotees, by the help of devotees, by the help from Lord Krishna, if he concludes it in that way, then he can utilize that chaos to advance more in Krishna consciousness. Example of Parikshit Maharaj, getting a curse and getting a curse to say that you'll leave this body in 7 days, and he immediately renounced everything, went to the bank of Ganges, invited sages, and to spend time with the sages. Sukadeva Goswami arrives, requested him to speak about Krishna, heard Katha for 7 days, and left his body in 7 days. So he utilized that curse to advance himself in Krishna consciousness and go back to Krishna. So it depends on devotees' consciousness and their ability to convert calamity into an opportunity. That way. Yeah. Yes. Sanjeev Prabhuji, you have a question?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session today. Prabhuji, of course, we we draw huge inspiration from the life of Prabhupada ji and the determination and the sacrifices he made. But he was an exalted personality, a pure devotee, and for us, we are nowhere near. And for somebody like us, ordinary people, it needs huge determination and sacrifice to walk down this path. And the fact is, the distractions that were there during Prabhupada's time are probably 100 times over today with social media, artificial intelligence. And history has shown us that even sincere people leading a very austere life have, succumbed to material distractions. The classic example, of course, is of Ajamil, who was leading a Brahminical way of life, and that one trip to the forest, and his senses got completely corrupted, and he forgot his Brahminical way of life. Today, what Ajamil saw accidentally in the forest, a large section of the population watches it every day on their mobiles and probably addicted to it. And artificial intelligence is now, taking control of our lives, so much so that kids today are confiding in Chat GPT for the emotional distress rather than confiding in their parents. So you need to step out of the house, and you'll definitely come across people who are dressed in a manner which reveals more than it hides. All this greatly agitates the mind. And the practical way forward to develop that determination and sacrifice is that is required today is many times over. I feel. What's the way forward? How does one stay the course? I mean, you draw inspiration, sure, but distractions today, material distractions, are also getting extremely strong. So that's my question, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful question. So it's true, and we see that you mentioned about the modern times, the distraction is going up multi times more. But in history, also distraction existed. Vishwamitra lost his spiritual credits thrice, and so once he united with an Apsara, had a child with her, then realized he made a mistake. Again went back, again built up his austerity, perform austerities. Then another Apsara came, he became angry and cursed her. Again, he's lost his spiritual credits. Uh, so the distraction exists all the time, and the quantum of distractions uh, increases or decreases. It really doesn't matter. One should. It's not. It's one thing to say how big my distractions are, and it's another thing to say how big Krishna is. If we really sincerely connect ourselves with Krishna, no matter how big these distractions are, they will all look very small. It all depends on what is the quality of our connection with Krishna, with the chanting of the name, with the chanting, and how much pleasure are we deriving out of this spiritual activity, how much spiritual joy we have experienced. I was playing Kirtan at the beginning, and somebody commented, "What a wonderful Kirtan." And if you participated, you would have visited Vrindavan Dham Yatra, you would have experienced the live Kirtans and the singing and the dancing in those Kirtans, the ecstatic Kirtans. And people lose themselves in those Kirtans. People forget themselves in those Kirtans. And the reason they do that is because they experience spiritual joy while chanting and dancing, singing and dancing in those Kirtans. Now, this joy, this experience of spiritual happiness is how, if you're sincerely applying to the process, you can experience the same joy throughout the day while doing your activities also. Simply by remembering Krishna, you can feel that same experience. So instead of worrying about how big my temptations are, we should increase our appreciation how big Krishna is, how great Krishna is, how loving Krishna is. And that we can do by continuously engaging ourselves in the devotional service in a very, very sincere way. So the way is the other way around. You bring Krishna into your mind, into your heart, so much so that the moment Krishna establishes himself there, the everything else will simply disappear. And that is the way forward. That is the way forward. Because there is no other way. Artificially, you cannot, of course, you can do things to create a distance, make those things unaccessible to us. And all of those, we've spoken about from time to time. How we will speak about them in the next session also, that how regulations will help us. Freedom by regulation. What do you mean by you become free when you are regulated? When you accept regulation, how you become free? We can discuss some of those things in our next session. But in general, we need to re-establish our lost connection with Krishna. If we do that, these things will stop doing to us. Just as simply as you may get 100 phone calls and you will simply keep saying no to them. For taking loan, take loan, take credit card, take this, take that. The way, if you're not tempted, if you're fixed in your consciousness, you will, no matter how many such calls come, you will keep saying no. Because you don't need to go in that direction. So similarly, these temptations will always remain there. But all we need to do is to strengthen our relationship with Krishna. If we do that, as we get that relationship strengthened, this will become weaker and weaker. The temptations, their ability to tempt us और हमारे मन को विचलित करने की उनकी जो क्षमता है, that will go down, and at some stage they will lose their potency to bother us completely. We can reach that stage, and so that way, this is how we we progress in Krishna consciousness. Even though Prabhupada, we say yes, he's a divine soul. He came from the spiritual world for the propagation of the movement. But if we only consider him that, then we will fail to learn from his efforts, and that will not be good. We should be able to learn from his life also. In fact, that's what we learned from the life of Lord Ram last session. Why? Because at an ethical level, we can analyze their actions and learn from them. If we keep them at a divine level, divinity level, then it will all be part of pastime, and my life is not a pastime. So it becomes completely irrelevant for us, and then we fail to learn anything from it. So, but by understanding the ethical aspects of it, the practical aspects of it, Prabhupada did suffer physically. And it's not that he was thinking that I came from spiritual world, why am I here? He was not waking up every day thinking, why am I here? Should be in the spiritual world. He was fighting practical battles in New York, in Bombay, in other places. And so many ups and downs came in the movement itself, and he faced all of those bravely. So, because his connection with Krishna was stronger, and he would work on it every day. So, similarly, we have to strengthen our relationship with Krishna, make that bond stronger, and work on it every day. And then the temptations will stop bothering us eventually. Okay, Briju?
Yeah, Prabhuji, thanks so much. But the thing is, making that bond stronger, my question is that and letting Krishna into your heart is also somewhere needs the mercy of the Lord himself, or perhaps of a pure devotee. Because if you see, both Dhritarashtra and Sanjay heard the Bhagavad Gita. It didn't transform Dhritarashtra one bit, but it transformed Sanjay hugely. So that's my point. What that bond and that transformation I think, needs some mercy of the Lord or some mercy of an advanced devotee to take shape in you.
Yeah, it all starts with desire. If our desire is, Dhritarashtra had unfavorable desire towards Krishna, and hence he never received Krishna's mercy. When Krishna says that ye yatha mam prapadyante, that as you surrender, I reciprocate. So Lord is reciprocal. Lord wants to reciprocate, provided you want him to reciprocate. Question is, if we are practicing devotees or if we are trying to practice Krishna consciousness, indicates to the Lord that we are positive. We want him to reciprocate. We are favorable to him. We are favorable in his to him, not unfavorable. We may have our own shortcomings. We may have our own way of we at in our own level we must be competing with Krishna in some way or the other. That's why we are not pure devotees. But overall, our mood is favorable to Lord. We are not unfavorable towards him, and that is sufficient for him to give us to reciprocate us in many ways. His reciprocation can come in multiple ways. Uh, his reciprocation can come by way of making knowledge available and accessible to you, to all the living entities. And that is true. That is, knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is available. The purports of Sri Prabhupada are available. Second is facility, and third is examples, so that you can follow their footsteps. The facilities are also available today. Practicing Krishna consciousness is not very difficult. You have all the facilities available, the books are available, the videos of senior devotees are available, senior devotees themselves are available, many Srila Prabhupada disciples are available, and they are guiding, they are practicing devotional service for more than 30, 40, 50 years, and they are present on this planet right now to give guidance to anybody who chooses to go and ask them. And all the temples are available where you can actually practice Krishna consciousness. The congregation is available, the devotees are available everywhere, every nook and corner of the world where you wish to practice. You can find devotees there. You can come together and practice devotional service. So the knowledge is available, the facility is available, and examples are available. Even today in our moment, many senior devotees are there, exalted devotees are there, who are practicing Krishna consciousness and who are exemplifying, who are setting examples, setting standards for us to follow their footsteps. So everything is there. Our sincerity is there, and depending on our application, depending on our sincere effort, seriousness, and practice that we accept, we will progress, and we will reach a stage where this will become a small victory for us, and it should not even matter. It's like a byproduct of our sadhana, that these things will stop bothering you much. Eventually your goal is set on much higher. Your goal is far more higher than winning over the tempting situations of this material world. Your goal is attaining Krishna. So that is much more loftier goal than winning over these small battles with the material temptations. But this will easily happen. We just need to be patient. We just need to utsaha, nishchaya, dhairya, all the three things we need to apply, and keep practicing devotional service in association and guidance of devotees, and Krishna will reciprocate. It's just a matter of time.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we'll conclude today's session.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Hare Krishna, Guruji. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes,
there is also one question from Khushi Sethi Mataji, although she is not there right now, so you can take decision to just answer that, or maybe that can be answered on one-on-one basis.
What's the name of who's asked the question?
The question is, Prabhuji, that how the coolness can be maintained, means the coolness that we maintain, how we can understand it, that is coming from true detachment or from avoidance of responsibility?
Yeah, yeah, it's very nice question. Actually, it's not coolness is not irresponsibleness. It's not equated with irresponsibleness. It's a coolness comes with the effort also, and so obviously we have to do our part, and that's what the whole purport explains, that how Prabhupada was active and he was doing his part, but the emotions come later. Now, post our actions are the emotions, and those emotions can be controlled if we are fixed in Krishna consciousness. It's not that they don't feel happy. Prabhupada was not. It's not that Prabhupada was unhappy. Prabhupada was also happy, but he would give all his credit to Krishna and his own Guru Maharaj. So that way, we understand that it's not an inactive state or an irresponsible state that we want to achieve in order to become cool. Becoming cool is not equal to becoming irresponsible. It's becoming cool is much higher and much better than this. So we can answer that in more detail probably on a one-on-one session. Thank you so much, Vijay. So we'll conclude today's session. Pray everyone have a very, very healthy and Krishna conscious week ahead. We'll meet next Sunday. We'll look at the other two aspects of this answer until the verse 2.71. Hopefully in the next session, and then we'll take it forward from there. So thank you everyone for your patient hearing, and we'll conclude today's session. Jagannath Mai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for
Dandavat pranam.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Thank you so
pranam.
much.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
It's a wonderful set.
Thank you so much.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat.